June 7th, 1997 is a day that means so much. Darren McCarty is with us. To Detroiters, to Red Wings fans, to hockey people. It has to mean a heck of a lot to you. I want to know, what were you doing on this morning, on this afternoon before the game?
I mean, routine. I think if I recall, we stayed at the Athenaeum downtown Greektown. That was our, routine's so important, right? So you don't want to get out. And I remember after blowing, what did we win, 6-0 or 6-1 in game 3, and it was that excitement. As much as let me take it back to going into game 6 the year before in Colorado, or going into game 4 of the Cup Finals in '95 against Jersey. You still think you got a shot, and you still think we can turn this around.
Yeah.
Going into Joe Louis and that was the most. June 7th, 1997 was like Christmas Day on steroids for your whole life, because it was one of those things that I woke up in the morning, was like, we're gonna win, we're gonna race Stanley Cup tonight, we're gonna win tonight's gonna be. It was like you knew you were getting married. So it was, but it was almost like you were so excited that there's no way it was wasn't gonna happen. Like, we weren't gonna let it denied. Obviously, this is because we'd gone through 95 and 96. And all that stuff, and the culmination to this point, to be able to do it at home, we weren't going to be denied. But we knew it wasn't going to be easy, and it was going to be the toughest game of the series. You remember, Philly was supposed to sweep us.
Yeah.
Right? So, but we had the confidence, and you look at, so I just remember going to the rink and being really excited, and it was more just trying to calm the emotions and get into the game. And it was back and forth. Vernie, you look at some of the saves, we could have been down early, but like Bernie did, obviously being the Conn Smythe Trophy winner, he carried us through there. And then when Nick scored at the end of the first, it was like one of those, okay, here we go. And then, to be able to obviously beat one guy one-on-one my whole career, just use it as timing, and to be in the second period of, the Stanley Cup Finals. I remember the play, because it was the end of the shift. And
hold on. Before we break that down, I want to milk this for all we can here, because I know there's so many people that just hang on every word you have to say about that day and about that moment. You get to the rink. Let's get back to that. You get to the rink, and you're bubbling with emotion. You're fired up, like you're saying.
Well, we all are, but it's like Christmas morning, but you can't go downstairs. Like, there's good stuff there. Like, you can peek down, you see all the presents, but you're not allowed to go downstairs till mom and dad are up. Right? So that's the whole of us younger being excited, but through the whole room, it was business. So it was excited business. Like, to my analogy, I knew one time when I was younger, I went down early, and then I suffered for it, right? I didn't get to open my presents till last. So I wasn't going to so it had to follow everything sort of we still had to, we can't take it for granted, because then you have this confidence and this excitement, but there's also the fear, or the overconfidence, or let's not do this. But the best part, dude, is we're all going through it together.
Yeah.
Right? We're all going through it together. So we were transparent as hell. And whether it was the grind line going, oh my God, I'm nervous. Yeah, me too, but it's so exciting. Oh yeah, but okay, we got to make, and then, it'd be drapes. Just like, well, let's make sure that it's imperative we start the game, because if you watch how we started that series, Scotty started the grind line against the Legion of Doom, especially game 1, game 2. I ran Svoboda through the boards. I hit more guys in the first shift of that series than I did in my career. But it was just, we had to establish, the tone. And then during the game, I go back and play with Stevie until, the end, and the way you get into the flow of the game. And I mean, it was nerve-wracking as hell.
Right.
Like, it was, but it was that excitement of we were going to do it. And then here's the thing about Joe Louis Arena, right? That home ice advantage never plays more apparent than to clinch a game. Now, unfortunately,
the whole time.
Unfortunately, in 2009, my last year in Game 7, it didn't end well. But I'll be okay. But the thing is back then is that every shift was so important. And it's like, I remember as the game went on, or as, like you said, you prepared and made sure that not only every I and T was crossed, but you double checked and you did just to make sure. And what I remember about that is just the communication that we all felt the same way and it was okay. And we were just going to all go out and lay it on the line and not be denied. And, so it, that game, like I said, I think in the first period, that was their best game. And Bernie held us in and we were able to find our spot. And anytime, the old adage is you never want to get scored on the first minute of the period, never want to get scored on the last minute. And to score, especially in game 4 in the last minute, that had to derail them. And because, you're a professional and stuff, but it's when you're down 3-0, it's sort of one of those things that the writing is on the wall, at least in this case it was.
Was there a big speech? Did Scotty make a big speech? Did Steve Yzerman step up before the room before you guys got going? Did you, slap everybody in the back and scream?
Well, we pretty much kept it as routine as always, and like as far as when guys went out, what guys would say. But it was more of this like look around the room and everybody just there's a saying that we used to use: everybody ropes, everybody rides, which means there's one rope if you look at it around the dressing room, and everybody's got to pull the rope. And it was one of those pull the rope moments, but it was also one of those moments. See, in the future after we'd won, going into 98, going into 02, going into 08, we could delve back on those experiences of being here. This first time, I guess it was only, Scotty, and Scotty's big speech that we remember wasn't until the one you remember before game 7 of 02 against Colorado, because he knew he was going out. This one was just more of, you guys are right where you're supposed to be. This is, you got to go out and earn it, but this isn't surprising. This is what you're meant to be, and just that sort of confidence. So
wait, quick aside, what was the big speech in 2002 that he gave?
Well, Scotty came and he never really gave a speech or whatever, but it was just one of these things that he said before the game, just no matter what happens, how proud he was of the group, and just one of the things that he didn't tell the players how much like he might have appreciated them, but no matter what happened, and I think that's because he knew he was going to retire in hindsight. But at the time, it was just like, hey guys, whatever happens, whatever happens. So then if you want to talk 02, you fast forward and we come in after the first and we're up 4-0. That's if you want to say in the Detroit Red Wing Joe Louis Arena locker room where the scariest intermission was after the first period in game 7 of 02.
The scariest?
The scariest, because you're up 4-0 and it's like, what's going on? And it was like nobody wanted to like ruin it, or was it like, because that's the one thing, is the shoe gonna drop or whatever. So getting the 5th goal to make it 5-0, Thomas Freddie Olsen's was the most. It was, everybody's like, oh yeah, now, oh guys, it's 5-0, 5-0. Yeah, we own these guys, but it's amazing the psyche and sort of at the time. And, it's one of those things that when I watch playoff hockey, base football or whatever, is that the mentality is a lot of the same, whether it's the reservations, whether it's the inexperience. And you know what? I think 97, because we lost and we got embarrassed in 95 and had lost in 96. It just, your focus is a little bit better. So
that goal, you mentioned it. People remember the grind line like the back of their hand, and can tell how you guys played the monumental moments. You were on the ice with Steve Yzerman for that cup clinching goal and for that amazing moment in Detroit victory.
People forget there's 4 members of the grind line: Maltby, Draper, Kosher, and McCarty. I start the game, finish the game. Joey plays in the middle. I go back, play with Stevie and either Homer or Stanstrom or whatever. But I remember Steve Yzerman telling Bob Erie and I in 95, because Bob Erie played with Stevie in Peterborough and Junior, and he said, hey, Stevie, got you into the league too. And Stevie turns to him and says, yeah, you 2 idiots are going to take me out of the league too. So it was more of, I think it just, it was one of those things. Like I played a ton of games with Steve Yzerman on his right side at different points in the game. And, that, like I said, if you want me to take back to the goal, it was at the end of the shift. And I knew it was that they were changing, Philly was changing, and Vladdy got it in the corner, put it up to Sandstrom, and me being a responsible right line grind liner, even though I was on Yzerman's line, you're still a grind liner. You take that puck, and And it's funny because when you, with this pandemic and the quarantine and all the old games being played and interviews of guys being made, it's funny because a lot of time we don't talk about it, but our thought processes are exactly the same, like how we saw it or whatever. And I know that Stevie was behind me and he was probably yelling at me to dump it in. And I told him, Darren McCarty, was planning on dumping it in. The big fella decided Darren McCarty was going to have his Mario Lemieux moment, and then boom, boom, dangle, which Stevie says I have one move, and that is the only move, and it's the only time it ever worked. But I remember going, oh my God, I got him beat, and it was Neenam, and I saw this orange out of the side of my eye, like speck, and it was like one of those startling things, and I pulled it, and I'm this far from the goal line. And Bradley, do you know why I scored? And this is for you youngsters at home. Because I said, please don't miss the net. Then I double pirouetted. It was great selling. 4-7, 4-8 by the Russian judges, but that's another conversation. And I see Steve Yzerman, the guy that I'd grown up, the eyes the size of dinner saucers, the guy that I'd grown up in Leamington, Ontario, across the border since I was 10, 11 years old, watching, being a Red Wing fan. And he's looking at me going, what the hell was that? And I'm like, I don't know. And true Stevie fashion, to me at least, he goes, well, thank God you don't have to do it again.
That is the best part. You told me that story last summer, and that will stay with me the rest of my life. That goal and then that story.
But you understand that, though, because of the relationship and the more that you're around our team, at least even if you weren't back 20 years ago or whatever, you see the dichotomy in the relationships in retirement through all of us guys. It's the same thing. So that's just the epitome of Stevie, I'm his biatch, so it's okay. You got to shoot high. I got Steve Yzerman, runs my show. That's not a bad thing. And then I always, when I do my comedy, my slapstick comedy travel around, I always caveat the story off with, hey, and by the way, do you know who I sent my first Christmas card to every year? Eric Lindros, captain of the Philadelphia Flyers. And they're like, what? Yeah, I go, he scored with like 11 seconds left, which made it 2-1, which not only made my goal the Stanley Cup clinching goal, which once they put it in the Hockey Hall of Fame, they can't take it away no matter how much stupid stuff you do. And not just that, but it gave me the one moment, and I talked about this, is that, when you have those moments that they're so big that you try to take that mental picture of. So mine was, I was on the ice with Yzerman, Shanahan, Lidstrom, and Konstantinov for the last face-off, like 11 seconds. And because where I was, when I turned outside the red line back towards the net, I was the furthest away. So the buzzer went, I could see everybody off the bench, the streamers out of the crowd, the fans going nuts. For a split second, like as that, it was so loud, it was silent. It was unbelievable. That's my memory of Joe Louis Arena. Is like I always say, it's like that family pet you grew up with. We all end up putting them down, but we don't lose the memories. So, and it's funny, 23 years ago today.
Yeah. Is there a moment that you remember years after, days after, or even in seasons after that, where you saw Yanni Niema or Ron Hextall and they ribbed you or elbowed you in the gut and said, what the heck was that, man?
No, I don't even think I talked to Hextall. And the sad part or whatever, it's sorry that Niema had to be the victim, because he's such a good guy and he's a huge metalhead, and I love that about him. But it's one of those things that you know what? Sorry about your luck. It had to happen, bro. We 42 years and we went through another stuff. So I will definitely. I'm always for the conversation. It's funny how it works out, but just like anything in life, there's always a winner and always a loser. We were just tired of being losers, bro.
My gosh. So many memories. I really appreciate you sharing this, and let everybody know here on our platforms where you're talking to fans, because I know you've been really busy.
Absolutely. Behind me, you have Grind Time with Darren McCarty that you can find on NRM Streamcast. So that's the, like I was telling you before, Grind Time with Darren McCarty. What is that? Whatever I want it to be. The people, places, things that I like or want to meet or enjoy. Like, for example, I just did the generic jackpot Joe Coleman. He's part of Halal Beefcake, which in wrestling, he's a local boy downriver, beauty, like stuff like that. I talk to Drapes and Ozzy and Maltz and all the guys too, and we, keep up to date, but it's really about what I like. I also, too, am fortunate enough, Friday night, 7 to 8 o'clock on AM 760 WJR. I have the Darren McCarty show with my good friend Sean Belegian, who I always say Shawnee B. I love him because he saw me play junior and he knows how great I am. So he was back in junior. So we've been friends.
People forget, Darren, you were playing on that line with Yzerman because you were a heralded prospect in the system. You weren't just a guy who beat people up.
No, but we all had. See, here's the thing: to be a cog in the wheel of a great machine is like, that's the thing. The one thing that I've learned is what I am or whatever. I'm meek, and meek isn't weak. Meek means I am for the cause. I don't fight for myself. I fight for my teammates. I fight, like, if anybody knows me, I can beat the living crap out of myself more than I will let anybody else, because it'll just get to the point, like, you can't do anything more to me than I can do to myself. And I've realized that and stopped doing it. But the whole point, I had 55 in junior. I always say Maltz had 50 that year. It was a great year, but I had 55. And Brad, you'll appreciate this, because every time we bring it up or it gets brought up, he'll beat me to the punch saying I had 50 in junior, Mac had 55. So he'll beat me saying it, but it still gets out to the world, right?
Right.
So
goodness, dude. My Uncle Tom, who passed away, gave me this before he died. He was at the game, man.
I love it, bro.
I got it hanging here.
Is it not signed?
No, it's not signed.
Well, then we'll have to get it signed.
You signed a turtle shell for me. Remember we did that?
Yeah. But all those pictures. See, my goal is that photo, in my opinion, should be in every household, in every wing-wheeled nation person in this universe. And so
you might be close. Remember we talked with TJ Lang on JR this past summer, and he was just like geeking out talking to you, man. Dude,
he's a good buddy too. So we get to hang out, and he does some stuff over at NRM too. And that's wild to me, right? Because there's a Brother Rice kid, and do growing up and doing that, know who it is. It's funny because I find that a lot now, and getting to run into a lot of the younger kids, especially like in the golf world, all these golf talented kids coming up. I love golf. I mean, that's my passion. I mean, don't worry, I'm not that hockey guy. I always tell people on the first tee, listen, Corey Pavin and Fred Funk needed to have guys that cheered for him too. That was me. So short game guru right here.
Darren, thanks for doing this, man. Best wishes to you and your family.
You got it, Bradley. We'll see you down the road. And you're going to be, we were talking before, bro, you're going to be busy. It'll be interesting. I'll have to have you on Grind Time to talk about when all these sports go in and how much overtime you guys are working. But I love what you do. Looking forward to seeing you down the road, and we'll catch up soon, bud.
All right, Darren. Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it.